I do think that women need to show up as women. Women need to stop wearing these penises and pull their vagina out. My recurring thoughts about Kendra G is that, wow, she is giving very much masculine energy throughout this interview. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And it made me be like, girl, is this how I show up? Like, is this how I show up?
It's coming.
Welcome to another episode of the That's Scary with Melanie P podcast. I'm your girl, Melanie P, and we're here to have a conversation. I'm looking kind of busted. Y'all, I want to have a conversation about Miss Kendra G. Did y'all see her interview on Dear Wifey podcast? Now, this interview is literally, how long is this thing? 2 hours and 31 minutes. I am only, an hour and 26 minutes in, and I had some interesting thoughts. Now, okay, so I had some really interesting thoughts on this interview. What's his name? Laterris? With this interview with Laterris on the Dear Wifey podcast. Now, I'm going to be very transparent here because I literally had to call out my homie Mingo from Grown Men Talking podcast to be like, yo, am I tripping on my thoughts? Because here's what it is. In this interview, and I'm so scared, y'all, I'm so scared to say this because I feel like I'm being hypocritical. But as I was watching this interview, my recurring thoughts about Kendra G is that, wow, she is giving very much masculine energy throughout this interview. I'm so scared. And I was like, oh my God, girl, are you being hypocritical? Because I understand when you're in the media space, when you're a talker, when you're an interviewer, when you're in this space, it is normal for you to maybe talk with a different kind of energy, with a different kind of aggression. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but just with a different kind of energy because you do this every day. So like, when I'm talking to people, when I'm on other people's platforms, I have to be mindful of not showing up as if it's my platform, as if it's my show, especially even specifically being on Grown Men Talking podcast. Sometimes he'll have these panels, and I have been on a few, and I do this literally every day. So I just want to make sure that I'm not coming to someone else's panel the way I feel like Kendra did on this interview and almost low-key trying to take it over. Now, here's the thing. This is me being unedited, just real raw thoughts, right or wrong. This is what I felt. She kept over talking this man. She was very loud. She just gave a masculine energy. And when I was watching this interview and listening to her talk about her relationships and lack thereof, it made me sit there in my mind and think, damn, what kind of man, like if a man was interested in Kendra G and he was watching this, let's say a man was interested in Kendra G, dating her romantically, or, looked at her before he saw what she was saying and how she was engaging on this conversation. And if he saw her, what would he think after he sat for a couple of minutes and listened to her talk? That was what I was thinking in my mind. And that's when it made me look at myself because, again, to some people might say that I have a very outgoing personality. I will talk, I will kiki, I will curse. Nigga this, nigga that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can be very extra, not even on purpose, but it's just my natural personality. And I argue with myself sometimes. And even I talk to my sister-in-law, and it's like, okay, you're in this space. How does this show up to other people or even suitors who might see you and want to pursue you? How are you showing up, right? And I don't want this to sound like, oh, we got to not be ourselves because of a man. We got to not be ourselves because we want a man. We want a man. Like, it's not about that, but it kind of is. Like, Kendra G literally said that she had been engaged 20 years ago and that, if she gets married today or tomorrow, she doesn't, it's not a big deal to her. When women say that, I almost want to call BS because it's like, yeah, it might not be a big deal to you, but if you could choose either way, I feel like you would choose a healthy, happy relationship over being single and alone, period, point blank. Like, I did an episode about people saying the F word, fat, not wanting to be honest and say what the F word is. Like, we got to stop bullshit and we got to be a little bit more vulnerable in these situations. But I watched this interview and it was a lot. And it made me be like, girl, is this how I show up? Like, is this how I show up? Because it made me think, if this is how I show up, I don't want to show up this way. Because I didn't see, there was not a feminine morsel of energy or bone in her body in this interview. And this is just my opinion, y'all. I gotta just be honest with what I'm feeling. she did not exude femininity in this interview. She just really didn't. And I sat back and I watched her cut this man off over and over again. I sat back and I watched her kind of confuse and misconstrue his words over and over again. I sat back and I watched the energy of how he was watching and listening to her. It's almost like an energy shift. I feel like in the first hour and a half of watching this 2-hour video, it's like it wasn't a woman and a man talking. It was like two men talking. And I hate to be saying this because I do not want to ever put no black woman down like this because she's doing her big one. She's doing what she loves to do. This is her career. I totally get it. But I'm just really confused. Like, I don't know. I want to know what y'all think. Like, am I tripping? I do not mind if you don't agree with me. I don't want none of the blue suit, what you call them people, red pill people, like going in. But that's just what I saw. She, in this interview, there was so many times when she was over talking this man, and it's like she kind of took over the interview. Even her voice seemed to be very deep and raspy like a man. No matter how many skirts, how many wigs, how many eyeshadows, how many lashes you put on, you know, there's a feminine energy and feminine quality that we exude as women that I think is like a prize for us. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you an example that you might not agree with. Jocelyn Hernandez, okay? Jocelyn Hernandez, she is one of the most feminine women to me. Don't come for me, don't come for me, don't come for me. Yeah, she be cussing, she be nigga this, nigga that. Yeah, she do all that. But she still, especially in the presence of men that she respects specifically, you can see that she kind of becomes a bit, I don't want to say small, but she knows how to shift and play on that feminine, sensual, you know, energy. Another person that I think about is Shanika Adams. Now, again, a lot of people might not agree with Shanika Adams and some of her thought process about hypergamy and about what a man should do, but I have to applaud her because she does a really great job of exuding femininity. Another girl that I really like that, you know, does have a strong opinion is I'll insert her picture, but I talked about her on the previous episode, Tia S. I'll enter right here. She is a dating coach, a black lady. She was on Ready to Love, one of the seasons of the OWN show, Ready to Love. Very opinionated, very smart, very educated woman, but she still can do a good balance of masculinity. I just do not get that from Kendra G. The way she was talking all over this man, the energy, let's play a little bit of this.
Real, right? I'm not like right now I'm showing up because this is a part of me, but in relationships, I'm very authentic. So if I cuss out, yeah, I mean, if you cause me to get there, I mean, you argue, of course, like we've gotten into arguments where swear words have had to come out.
Would you be willing to offset that if you were dating a guy and he said, listen, don't talk to me like that?
Yes, I've had men that I'm thinking of one guy in particular, which is really an oxymoron because like you do everything but cuss. Like I don't know, you don't do everything else but cuss. All of a sudden now you want to be. That's what you don't do for real, for real. You know, be with all women. You know, but don't always follow the law, but you don't. Boy, get out my face. Get out.
Kendra, he's not here right now.
You sure?
Yeah.
He probably watching. They all be checking, y'all. Like, you know, this is on YouTube. He watching. Hey, just leave a comment. I know you got a fake page, so leave comments. That's what they do. They become little stalkers, child. But to answer your question, yes, I can be respectful. Like, listen, I'm not a person that's just like, oh, like even you and I have discussions, right? And I'll give my point and you'll give your point, but I can respect and what is necessary for you and I can honor that, right? I'm 20 years ago and it's like, okay, 20 years later, you're still not married, you're still not a wife. Would you make that same bet? Would you make the same decision?
And I would say you would.
Absolutely, yeah. I would have made it a day earlier because I had to choose me. Like, I am not gonna suppress who I am just to be somebody's wife. Like you asked me outside, you said, am I somebody's wife? I said, I don't know. And I'm okay with that. Like if I don't get married, it will not.
No, tell them how that conversation came up.
Because he writing letters to ghosts. Because seriously writing letters to ghost child. Now I thought we stopped having imaginary friends when we was in kindergarten, but now Latyrus, he said, I'm about to write the letter to my invisible wife. I said, your wife?
I did not say invisible.
Okay, he said to his wife, I said, the invisible woman you ain't never. Personally, I don't think Latyrus want to be nobody's husband, but I think we might get to that part in the podcast. And I said, you writing letters to everybody know this woman but you. You done sat here, you've been around this world, around all these sensational women. He ain't trying to be nobody's husband, child. But
I told her
that's my own theory.
I said she is not imaginary. She's a real person.
Yeah, everybody know but you. How everybody know your wife but you?
Because if we meet each other and it aligns and we say I do, then she became my wife. So she wouldn't be imaginary no more, would she?
Okay, this is your interview, so I'm gonna respect that.
No, talk.
Okay, but I have a question for you.
We can have a conversation.
What are you looking for? Because like most people don't.
Listen, hold on. This is what you just said.
You on my show, Latyrus ain't been on my show. But if I know for certain, if you came on my show, 8,000, I'm not even exaggerating. You would get 8,000 women from around the world that are like, I want to be your wife. Now they might not all fit what you want, but I think, is anybody perfect?
And that's the thing about it. I'm not looking for perfection.
Okay, before I answer that, you haven't met a woman that has at least 70% of the qualities that matter most to you that could be your wife.
I always say I thought I did, and I was like, this is what it is.
Well, I thought that was crazy.
Well, look, hold on. No, hold on. I want to hear it now. I want to hear how you double talk what you just said.
Listen, this goes on and on and on. I don't know. I just had to talk about this because I have a lot of different thought processes when it comes to women and femininity, men and masculinity, all these things. Like a lot of just new, different ideologies that I haven't really had before. And that's what life is about. Being able to hear people's perspectives, take what you need, leave what you don't, and form your own hypothesis based off what someone else is saying, your own opinion. But she was giving very masculine, and it made me look inside and be like, okay, when I show up, I don't want to show up like this. And I feel so bad. I feel like there's a softness that she was lacking in this interview. And let me say this, because I feel like I've done like 3 different videos about Kendra G, child, and it's literally not on no type of like Kendra G train and nothing like that. I talk about on my show what I see and what interests me, and to me what deserves a conversation. And just so happened to pull up my YouTube and saw this interview. I watched this interview, a whole hour and some change of it, and I'm just like, my very, very, very first thought was, this lady is out talking this man. She's talking very loud, and I don't see no femininity on this stage. Like, I don't see any femininity on this stage, and I just wondered, like, okay, Melanie P, are you lying to yourself? Are you projecting? Like, what is it that is making you feel this way? I literally messaged Mingo and I'm like, oh my God, is it me, or is she being very masculine on this interview? Now, Mingo, if you see this, child, we know that you love to call women masculine. I mean, I'm really joking, but he literally messaged me back and said, he said, yeah, she manly as hell. And this is no shade. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a thought process. Perception is whatever. But for another man to say, I'm sitting here thinking, damn, she kind of masculine. And for him to say she manly as hell. And I have literally heard that from so many men. Now, on the flip side of that, right, in the media space, you're used to, again, leading a conversation. You're used to not only leading a conversation, but leading an interview. Like, that's what you do for a living. She is a radio host by nature. She is a interviewer. And I'm sure that has to come with some type of, authoritative energy, because you're facilitating a conversation, right? But see, then I think about Claudia Jordan. I'm just telling you my real time thoughts. It could be wrong, could be not. I think about Claudia Jordan. I think about I'm just thinking about people that come in my mind. Angela Yee, Lauren LaRosa. Who are some other Jessie Woo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like she gives masculine. I know some people who are into this whole red pill thing don't like Jessie Woo, but I don't think she really gives a masculine. I think she does a pretty good job of balancing the masculine, the masculinity needed to host your own show and host your own whatever. She still exudes a good amount of femininity, and I would never like watch her show and be like, oh gosh, she manly. I think she does a very good job of being feminine and balancing that. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people, but this is really making me look in the mirror. And I remember my sister-in-law was saying, you know, how are you showing up in spaces? If you desire marriage, if you desire a husband, if you desire a healthy partner at minimum, how are you showing up? And everybody ain't wrong. You know, again, we have the blue pill type men who are going to think that every woman who isn't on some bow down to a man energy is too masculine. And I feel like for me, when I hear men talk about women being too masculine, it is a trigger for me. I don't like to be called masculine. I don't like to be called a feminist. Call me Melanie. Don't call me none of these other names or these other titles. Like, I feel like some men think that if a woman has an opinion, that's different from the masses, if she can hold her own in a conversation, whatever, then that's giving masculine energy. And I don't agree with that. But I just feel like there is a certain level of femininity that can be exuded alongside of giving your opinion, alongside of having a brain. I know, again, Jocelyn Hernandez, I'm thinking of my homegirl Mia. Like, I feel like she definitely exudes a strong femininity energy while still being very opinionated. I'm thinking about people who I have seen who still gives that feminine energy, but have a brain, have an opinion, and don't have to agree with everybody. And at the end of the day, let's keep it a buck as well. A woman don't want no man who feels like she's talking too much, or, you know, she would have to belittle herself or make herself small to be with a man. We don't want that. But we all have to do my favorite thing, which is look in the mirror and be like, okay, you know what? I don't know if Kendra G truly desires marriage. I don't even know if Kendra G is at a point in her life where she is actively dating to find a long-term partner. I think some women, they marry their career, and I think she kind of alluded to this in this interview. And women who truly do not desire a husband, a partner, long-term, and they're in a season of where their career is their husband, their career is what they're focused on. The numbers, the analytics of whatever shows or whatever projects they're working on, that is their baby. Do you? I get the sense that from Kendra G that her show, her app, her name, in these media streets is her baby. That's her man now. That's her baby now. Like, that's what she's focusing on. And at the end of the day, people are talking about her. People are always talking about her. This is my third damn episode talking about her because she's interesting and she is different and she is unapologetic. And you cannot fault that. And you don't have to be married. You don't have to desire marriage. But if you do, then you have to ask your question, like, how am I showing up as a woman? You know, Lataria said in this interview how dating is collecting data. And I thought that's a good point that I always say on my show. Like, when you're dating, you're collecting data. And a lot of men, and just in my experience, men can be very intrigued. Men can be very intrigued and very interested in the outgoing, career-focused, extroverted personality of a woman. But then as soon as you get that kind of woman, that's no longer your thing. You're intimidated by it. You're intimidated by a woman that has an opinion. You're intimidated by a woman who is out here doing her own thing and maybe, has a career that she's very passionate about. A lot of men think they want that, but when they get that, they can't handle it. And then the toxic cycle of breakup, makeup, continues. So again, I'm speaking from a place of having been called masculine before, because I have opinions. I have a show where I have opinions that people may not agree with, and they can say, oh God, you're so masculine, whatever. And do I agree with that? I don't. But did I take time to self-reflect and talk to people that I trust and be like, why would somebody think this, whatever. And people who know me did not agree. However, when it comes to being in this dating space, I do think, in closing, because I feel like I'm rambling at this point, I do think that women need to show up as women. Women need to stop wearing these penises and pull their vagina out, you know what I'm saying, and walk in that feminine energy. And I will say, because I was actually really trying to think of a man, a man in Hollywood, a man who I think would be a good partner for someone like Kendra G, like not in real life, but I'm trying to think of a man who I feel like has that kind of woman and their marriage or their relationship is thriving. I cannot think of none. If you can't think of somebody, please put it down in the comments. Let's have a conversation in the comments. But I cannot think of a woman who is really extra like that has a man and they're successfully married. Listen, I'm open for correction. I really, really am. And I'm open for everyone's opinions. Y'all, let me know. I'm scared to even ask. Let me know what you think about what I'm saying. If you agree, if you don't agree, let me know if you saw this interview and what was your takeaway from this interview. I think Kendra G is a very beautiful woman. I think she's a very curvaceous woman. You know, she loves her wigs. She loves her, interesting clothes. She is very much giving unapologetically herself. She's in her bag. She's getting money. I look up to her in terms of, going after her dreams in having this show, having to be successful, being a household name. I admire that. But again, because she is someone that I admire, I do look at her maybe in a different light than other women, because it's like I admire her, but I truly do not like the masculine energy that she's giving off in this interview. And I feel like a lot of men look at her and they feel this way. Ooh. Are we right? Are we wrong, y'all? I don't know. Don't come for me. Let me know what you think about this conversation in the comments. Let's start a conversation. Let's help each other, y'all. Do not be in my conversations fighting. I love when people are just having healthy dialogue, difference of opinion. Help me see what you're seeing. I could be totally wrong. I don't think I am. I could be totally wrong in some of the stuff that I said. And I'm very much open to listen and to understand and to hear other perspectives, y'all. Anyway, let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next episode.